At the 11th Positive Hack Days Forum, today we live in difficult times for our country and for all the world, and sovereignty is top of the question, top of the agenda, regardless of the friendliness or unfriendliness. Everyone thinks about sovereignty, and we, cybersec specialists, gathered here to talk about technological sovereignty of the country, the fundamental basis on which we can build our own ecosystem of IT products and security products, the basis of the ecosystem of the people who are going to work in this professional area. As you know, many people, the majority of foreign vendors left Russia because of the recent events. And today I represent Positive Technologies, Deputy Director in cybersecurity, Alexander Bondarenko, AirVision, Sergey Kifilov from Enstage, Pavel Lutsek from CryptoPro, well known in the market, and Nikolai Belobrom from Rostelecom, in charge of cybersecurity. Today we are going to discuss the question of technological sovereignty and maybe define the focus of where to move to reach that kind of sovereignty, so that our critically important infrastructure could operate as efficiently as before the events that we all know. So the first question is just a simple one, a warm-up question. Vendors and customers and integrators are here in this forum, and after February 24, did customer requirements change? What kind of solutions became more popular? What kind of functionality became more popular and which are less popular now? Alexander, you are the first. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Talking about the changes, there are two trends. The first one is that lack of foreign vendors leaving us, and as a result, the customers start relying on us, talking to us on questions of antivirus protection, because Kaspersky didn't occupy 100% of our market, and we work in security area, and our products are relatively new. Foreign vendors didn't occupy the large share in those areas. One of the global trends is like this: urgent replacement of technologies that are not supported. And the second trend, it has occurred, it's dependence on hardware. We are the developers. We develop software. And we can work on any hardware basis, but the customers have problems with increasing the computing power. And some projects are delayed because they need computing facilities. Hardware affects the software developers as well. Thank you, Alexander. Yes, the question of hardware is urgent, one of the most urgent in the area of digital independence. A lot of large-scale contracts were stopped here, and it's an important thing, really. And I have one more question. The problem with hardware delivery could have been solved by developing our own local hardware solutions, hardware-software sets. But such production are very high-tech technologies. We need manufacturing facilities of a certain kind. And right now, because of the international situation, we didn't see any deliveries of the elements for our local micro schemes. Palladium is not coming here. Palladium, more than 35% of palladium was delivered by Russia, but more than 50% of the Russian of the market was delivered by Ukraine, and now we have problems with palladium. To produce microchips, we need to procure new hardware. Maybe you discussed the possibility of buying locally produced hardware or producing microchips here in Russia. The question is to Pavel Lutsik. Good morning, dear colleagues. It's an interesting, good question. Workstation servers, it's not critical now. The situation is not yet critical. We try to fulfill all our commitments. We interact with different partners who develop microelectronic bases. But I would like to give you an example which startled us and disappointed us. As many other software vendors, we use foreign hardware delivered from Taiwan. Taiwan supported sanctions, and we started looking at China. Huawei and other colleagues, and China, as a result, cannot help us. At the end of February, they stopped accepting our orders. Their lawyers are not yet sure how to deal with us, how to continue deliveries. So for the time being, unfortunately, our colleagues from loyal and friendly countries cannot help us in this area. It's a difficult problem. We try to interact with different companies, but we don't see any breakthrough. We don't see any silver bullet now. So we have to deal with that problem on and on. To specify the problems with Chinese components, where are they? Are they legal or are they logistical? It's all right with logistics. It's legal. In many companies, up to 25% shares belong to the U.S. partners, and those U.S. partners exert their influence on the Chinese company, and they forced them to join sanctions. There are no technical problems, there are no logistical problems. The problem is sanctions. I see. Thank you very much. Of course, sanctions also accelerated our import substitutions. Of course, we have been thinking about import substitution and independence. Now we just have to do it, and fast. So the situation is gradually improving. At the end of February, all the channels were closed, but a bit later, the partners, our continuous customers, well, started finding other ways, longer ways to continue deliveries. So let's talk about something really positive. The problems are acute, and the next question is to Sergey. I have an impression that functionally our own locally produced products are not worse than their foreign equivalents. In some vendors have even better products than the foreigners, and their products were sold internationally, and some of the products were in top 10 products in their industries. What about the companies who work with different vendors? Are our cybersecurity products better or worse than the foreign ones? Well, I would join your opinion, because if we take all the products, the basic products, everything that was based on imported technologies can be implemented on top of local products, and the local products are good enough, and they are actively developing. They use advanced technologies that we didn't have 6 months ago. And in general, I would say that the local market got good impetus for development. We see a lot of foreign solutions that can be replaced, substituted with Russian analogs. Of course, there are some limitations. If, for example, we use proprietary technologies, Cisco, for instance, so we have to change them, but they would be different. So we would try to develop the products that would be not worse than Cisco. Of course, I have an internal opinion that from the viewpoint of specialists, engineers, developers, and the production base, of course, we could close all the gaps if we come together and try to do our best. Our determination and will is what is needed most of all. So the next question is as follows. What do we have to change in ourselves? What do we have to focus on to reach technological independence? I believe we have to replace the attitude to education. We need R&D centers. What do you think? What are we missing now? Well, I would like to say a few words about the previous question. Yes, in our portfolio, more than 80% of solutions are local. There was a joke that Russian microchips are very mature and stable and have two handles for carrying. Yes, functionally we can cope, but sometimes they are bulky, they are not convenient, they are not cozy. Very often that area is not our best performance, not our best functionality. So we have to pay attention not only on software functions, but on compactness, on customer convenience, on usability. Import substitution was activated in 2014, even earlier, but convenience, coziness, usability, customer experience, that's what we need. In some areas, we take the same foreign product, put the Russian-based shell on top and say this is local. But now we have to change that approach. We have to realize that we shouldn't do the job as quickly as possible, as cheap as possible, but we have to look deeper, long term. Let's be honest. We don't always need 15 nanometer technologies. Sometimes we can use bigger chips, and we shouldn't replace Western technologies by Eastern technologies. So Western substitution should not become substitution by Eastern technologies. So in the next 15 to 20 technologies, we cannot reach the top-level technologies. So we need to find our own way to close the gaps. And then the products that we are developing now should be competitive. We have to look long terms. We need competence centers, R&D centers, free economic zones, joint stock enterprises, full cycle enterprises. So we shouldn't look at gaps. Here it's import substitution. Here we have to buy from some Asian company. Independence is independence. It should be really independent from the East and from the West. I can only agree with you. Yes. So we have to join efforts. Join efforts. Do you think we have to join efforts in any way if we have to reach technological independence, that we cannot do it on our own? I don't know whether you agree or not. We cannot reach breakthrough by a certain vendor or by a certain integrator on its own. Only in partnership of vendors, integrators, and government agencies. Yes, government agencies, independent. We need consortiums which should use strong points of each of the players. If we try to get immediate revenues right now, immediate profit, in 5 years we shall still be lagging behind. All right, yes, I agree. So you have a comment? Yes, I would like to add. I think it's important. We are the producers of the Russian cryptographic security. We look at the situation this way. We all used Windows, Linux, and Russian cryptography is not supported by those operating systems. And we have a big problem of understanding of Russian cryptographic products. For example, SSL certificates. The government, the Ministry of Digital Development, generates the local SSL certification center. We must get understanding with the browsers and operating systems. At the government level, at the legislative level, all modern operating systems, local operating systems, browsers have to work with Russian cryptographic providers and certificates.
One more point. In addition to browsers and operating systems, there are other solutions that deal with Russian security utilization. For instance, we've all encountered attacks, DDoS attacks on our sites, including ourselves. So we are being attacked. Yes, we had some downtime, but what would I like to say now? Our domestic services to protect from DDoS, in most cases, can't process the traffic encrypted with Russian crypto providers. They just don't understand it. So if your website is secured by a domestic tool to protect from DDoS from Kaspersky or Curator, you just can't open the site following GHOST. So it's a serious problem. We're now working with these vendors so that their products could understand the Russian GHOST and analyze the traffic encrypted according to Russian GHOST. Same problem. Kaspersky and other antiviruses, when analyzing the traffic, if they can't understand the traffic, just block access to the websites. It's a big problem, but it's solvable. And now today with our technology partners, with developers of operating systems, browsers, DDoS protection systems, we're working on that, and we're hoping this problem is going to be solved in the near future. Sounds extremely optimistically. I would also like to hope for that. Actually, it's a great example. What if you make Russian tools so that they should at least understand, synchronize the certificates? Well, the certificates are standard. The question is not so much about the format of the certificate, but the fields and UIDs that are included there. It's more a question to the CAs rather than vendors. The government is also trying to fight with that law, Federal Law 93. 63 also removes restrictions on these UIDs, so the certificates should be universal and should be accepted by all products and different online marketplaces. Yes, in this situation, I would like to compliment the Ministry of Digital Development, because indeed our colleagues have indeed delved very deeply into the subject, and all present here have encountered the problem of certificates on the domestic websites. And so the Ministry of Digital Development has been really involved in this across the structures. Alexander has a comment. Yes, I just wanted to move the discussion from technology to people and resources. Talking about technology independence, then there should be someone to assure this independence. And in this sense, companies, we're talking about cybersecurity, although it does apply to IT in general. Companies that do development in Russia in this area. Actually, there are few and far between. I have run some analytics for the Russian market for myself to see what companies are there, what revenues they have, how many people are employed. And in fact, it's very, there are very few, the numbers are very low. And I mean, it's also about investing in R&D. American companies are investing in R&D. I'm afraid to give the wrong number, but I think they're investing more than the earnings of all Russian companies in info security. For startups, for instance, in America, any startup can get $10 to $20 million. It's very easy. Here in Russia, it's just impossible. I'm talking based on my own experience, because my company has also grown from nothing, and we just don't have a venture industry in cybersecurity. People who understand cybersecurity enough to be able to invest in it can be counted on the fingers of one hand. Do you know a lot of companies that have appeared over the past year or two in Russia for cybersecurity? Not related to some large organizations, some large structures as a subsidiary. Very few. And in this sense, we need to find our own approach. Okay, we don't have so much money that can be handed out just like in the American market, but we need to find some other systems because we have a lot of people with good brains. A lot of universities that churn out a lot of professionals, but this doesn't turn into an emergence of a large number of companies creating new technologies. I think therein lies the problem. How do you think? The problem here is more about what you've mentioned, the funding. Or maybe the problem is because the regulations are too harsh, so people just can't start up a company in information security. Like a small company, like 30 people, so they can't do that, not because they don't have the money for that. For instance, they have some seed capital for that that they've accumulated themselves. So there's money, there's a team. What other hurdles can be found on the way? Maybe there are some legal problems that you could see? Well, perhaps it's a question of education and upbringing, of a certain entrepreneurial vein in people, because we don't really have a lot of people in this country who are prepared to create their own businesses, even though it looks like some institutions have been organized, like Skolkovo, for instance. It allows getting grants, for business development by small companies, but it doesn't seem to work. It is not turning into like a flood of companies, and here the industry could also help, I think. In the sense that when we're talking about technology collaboration, it's also a question of growing some competitors to yourself. If you look at the Western market, it looks normal there. Large companies understand that it's easier for them to create an environment where startups would emerge and then to acquire them. It's easier for them to do than launch such projects within the corporation, because large corporations are sluggish, and the sprouts of something new are growing faster as startups. So you need to have a multifaceted approach, holistic approach. It's not only a question to the government, it's also a question to the industry, so that some collaborations could emerge that would allow such companies, such startups, such startup environment to emerge. Because now, basically, it's non-existent. Yeah. You indeed look like super samurais who appear in the market. But what's happening with these companies after that? Well, according to my observations, some of them manage to be bought out by a larger company or a vendor. In other cases, the projects just get closed. Unfortunately, the difficulty for a new technology business to turn into something tangible is indeed a problem. Yes, a small comment. I think it's also a question about business thinking of people. My company, many years ago, it took part in the Skolkovo contest. They were selecting a technology company for cybersecurity, and basically not a single company that took part in this contest, including those who won, don't exist anymore, even though the technologies were quite exciting and the guys were top-notch. But it was the business component that was lacking. A technical guy also needs to have a business person. Yes, it usually works like as a bundle. Everybody knows the Apple story. There was Wozniak and Jobs. One was responsible for sales and promotion, and another one was a technology leader and driver of the company. Thank you. You've actually highlighted quite an important point. Yes, indeed, the story about acquisitions. In fact, many startups just get organized for that sake, because many companies are not prepared to take the whole burden of turning a startups into technology giant. But they are prepared to start, launch, and maybe get some funds selling it to a larger player. So my next question to Sergey, you as a representative of a large holding company, for you, how does the story look? If you want to open up a new technology direction in your company, is it more interesting for you to grow it up within your company, or just find a company that has developed it in the market? Actually, the question is quite interesting. And I would say you can follow different paths here, depending on how new this business is to our company in terms of technology. If you are talking about something absolutely new and novel, then of course it's much better to find a team of enthusiasts in the market that's immersed and very enthusiastic about this idea. This idea drives them, they develop it, and they carry it on. And this way you can solve the problem of promoting these ideas for them. So taking these ideas and landing them to some specific projects or needs, because every product is developed for some need, and so landing it to very real, practical problems of a customer and achieving customer satisfaction is something we can offer them. Talking about the second option, when something new comes as a consequence of something old that has already existed, then in these cases we quite often focus on our own development. But of course this doesn't preclude us from adding new people, new knowledge, new technologies to them, because the problem is about people, their knowledge, their experience, their worldview, the readiness to share knowledge. We're talking about technology independence. And we understand that we can't talk just about cybersecurity. We also need to include IT in general in the discussion. And if we're talking about sustainability, this is also about people and knowledge. So adding new blood to the team always gives you an impetus for development. Yes, clear. Thank you. I think it's an important message maybe to representatives of small companies here in the conference. You see that large market players are quite happy going for acquisition. So the ball's on your turf. You just do your business and you'll get what you want. Sergey. Actually, you set the stage for the next question. So acquiring knowledge for your, or expertise for your company that you haven't yet had. So what kind of products, domestically developed products, are missing in the Russian market compared to all those Western similar projects that we've got used to use? So is every area covered, or maybe there are some areas where we don't have a replacement? Or maybe we have some areas where it would be built in a shoestring, but it's local. Well, I'm not going to speak about all products, but let me just share our experience, how we see that. After February 24, we've got a lot more work, and everybody's coming to us and are saying, look, before that, before today, we spent several years driving Mercedes cars. Can you offer us a Mercedes built in Russia? But unfortunately, we're saying we only have a US SUV, US Patriot. But if you fix something there, you can turn it in something like a Mercedes. Now, everybody wants top-notch products because they've got spoiled by Western products, and now they want to have everything functional and usable, all in one package. So what are we saying? So we're not going to cover all your needs with a single project, but if you put together several Russian solutions into a solution, then you can get quite a good solution, both safe and secure and usable. We are actively moving in this direction. Let's say Cisco or Connect or other solutions. It's just not possible to cover them with a single product. I'm using Cisco Connect as an example because what's Cisco Connect? It's a VPN or an MDM in all-in-one, and we have either VPN or MDN in this market. But we have good products for that. What you need is to bring them together, join them, bundle them in a single product. And it can be done. So I think one shouldn't be upset that something's missing, because everything is there. The important thing is to put these Lego boxes together and integrate them correctly in the market. Well, thank you. I actually arrived at the same conclusion. And I'm asking the next question to Nikolai, who is here. How to organize the migration projects from a zoo of Western solutions, integrated solutions that have a lot of functionality. So how to organize the migration process from them to some combinations of solutions from different vendors, but local ones, so that the customer shouldn't have a lot of headaches. Let me start with what the customers need from those combined solutions, because quite often, up until a certain time, security for companies was not very important. And now the moment is unique when security has first started to be measurable. So when business goes to read the news, they understand how much security costs, how much it would cost them to restore a website, for instance. In the past, it was like a vendor, like Cisco. So you have a respected product, and we just need to employ good people to use this product. So the problem now is not really about replacing something, but about discussing, dear customer, what you need at all. Do you need VPN, or you also need MDM, or you need both? Do you need products that get updated regularly? So the customers come to us and say, replace us a foreign security system with a locally made. The first thing we're going to do is why the customer needs a security system, not just to replace. So if there was one system, a foreign system here, and we are going to install some Russian. So no, actually, we start asking the question of maybe you should organize the process completely differently. Because indeed, the solutions available in the market allow covering practically every need and aspect of security. And because of the specificity of regulation in this country, it's only available as a set of building blocks. But in order to understand which building blocks you are going to need, you have to understand the nature of your needs. I absolutely agree. So, but it's more about correctly managing customers' expectations. Because if you wanted to cover everything, cover the whole spectrum, it's almost like the saying about fighting for everything good against everything bad. The concept that our company is offering their customers today is basically to focus on a specific result. So effective cybersecurity concept to cover the risks that the customer believes are the most important, not to try to cover the uncoverable, but so that you should put all the ticks in the boxes. But in fact, one should look at what instills the biggest awe of your problems, and to think what point-based solutions you could use to avoid an event that's inadmissible to you. And again, Sometimes you don't even need to listen to customers. I'm sorry if that sounds a bit harsh. I remember in 1990 there was a boom of accountants. Everybody was trying to become an accountant. Everybody needed them. Now, business is not interested in a black box that's being used. So the business, so what's inside the black box? The business is interested in whether their needs are provided. And so a provider comes to them and solves the problem. So I think the optimal way would be to go this way. So when the business understands the goals that they have and don't think about anything else. Yes, I would probably agree. And I'll try to gradually move to the next question that popped up in my head. What in this situation, look, we as vendor and integrator representatives, we are talking to customers in one way or the other. So we start communicating and we'll try to manage their expectations correctly. If the customers don't understand what they really need. But the topic of our today's session is about the huge tectonic shift to change the environment so that this country should gain this technology sovereignty. So I think this is the question I would like to ask you. What we would want to have for the professionals to get support from the government. Maybe not pecuniary support, maybe some methodologies. What as a vendor you are expecting to get from the state? I must say that our President, Vladimir Putin, has made a great present to this whole industry. I recall order number 250 of the 1st May of this year. That includes the personal responsibility for the CEO for information security. If something's happening, especially if we're talking about a critical infrastructure site, if we take a look at Article 274.1 in the criminal codes, we'll see that it implies prison for 10 years, up to 10 years. So I think it's a great motivator. Unfortunately, we have to state that any general discussions or persuasion are not effective enough. So what is working is either the whole company has been deleted or encrypted, or the president issues an order like Order 250. Again, back to this order, it's not all that's bad for the CEO. They can delegate these responsibilities to their subordinates. So we're not expecting the next government decree detailing the requirements for the deputy CEO or vice president. And there would be a separate regulation for the functionality of information security department helping this responsible person. Well, Pavel suggests that 10 years in prison should be replaced by work in a startup. Well, there's an option. You can use that. But it's been rightly noted that, indeed, historically, even in the West, I just use the custom, saying even, but historically, nowhere the information security functions for the top management has been considered as a business function. It's always been a kind of a commodity, some low-level support function that you could save on, that you could keep forgetting until the last day, until something really drastic happened. And indeed, we can send our thanks to Putin and presidential administrations because Decree 250 gave this push. So what it told the market is that this indeed is important and you have to deal with that. Can I also come in with a brief comment? Actually, I didn't have tongue-in-cheek when I was saying that because the decree applies to a very broad range of companies. And so like us, CryptoCrow, are a strategic company, a company that's strategic for the Russian economy. And I think that a lot of information security and IT companies are going to become part of this list. So it's not just for us, and some other people should take a look and start laughing, watching how other people do. We ourselves are involved here directly, and we're already discussing the future instructions and orders for the information security people in departments. I completely agree. It is indeed a very useful initiative, and I fully agree. So the market has started to really grow. I mean, the domestic market. I think all the colleagues here have felt a growth in demand for the activities of our colleagues. The market started to grow financially. Budgets started to be allocated. More pilots started to be run. And perhaps, I don't know if you can do it in Eurovision or Pavel and CryptoPro. Maybe some new product development directions have started. So indeed, Order 250 gave a very strong push to our domestic market. Well, unfortunately, all the subjects that are being discussed in positive hack days are very broad, and so we're running out of time, unfortunately. So I would like to wrap up this session with a quick series of quick questions. I'm just curious to see if my own analysis coincides with what you have in your heads. So there would be a blitz questionnaire. So just 1 or 2, 3 words. The focus where we should concentrate now to successfully provide the technology sovereignty that we want to achieve. Just 1 to 3 words. Who is prepared to be the first? Pavel. Technology partnership. Thank you. People and ideas. People and ideas. People and ideas. Alexander.
Вложение в R&D.
R&D investment. R&D investment. Great. Perfect. Thank you. And Sergey? Integration and BIT. Information security and IT. Thank you. So basically all answers coincided with the focus points that I have in my mind. Yes, indeed, we need to invest in people, invest in ideas, providing people a way to develop those ideas, invest in R&D, and do it in a single front together, because in the current situation, I don't think we'll be able to survive alone. So indeed, colleagues, let's get together. The future is on those lines. Thank you. Thank you, Alexander. Thank you, Sergey. Thank you, Pavel. Thank you, Nikolai. Thank you, dear attendees.